Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good. And we also, too, love helping you avoid scams, talking about the power of trust, accountability with our businesses, but also making sure that you and your business and your family are well protected. And that's why we're honored to have our good friend. She comes on regular to keep us protected. Robyn Householder, she's the CEO of Better Business Bureau, serving Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. How are you doing?
Well, first off, thanks so much for having me. Thrilled to be here. Doing great. Unfortunately, scams just continue to thrive. So I guess that's job security for me and my team. But hopefully we can give everybody some good tips today.
Absolutely. So you're always a wealth of information. And in this case, we're going to be talking about the top 5 riskiest scams. And so we'll dive into those in just a second. But let's start for those who kind of have heard about the BBB, but don't necessarily know all the good you do. Give us a little bit of an overview so we have some context. So go ahead and dive into the Better Business Bureau overall and your work locally.
Well, I promise it's not just complaints. So the BBB has actually been around for well over 100 years. Our focus has always been about advancing trust in the marketplace. And we do that, sort of what you said a moment ago, is holding businesses accountable to our standards of trust. Our office, which is 45 counties throughout Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky, actually provided over 2.7 million instances of service in 2022, and only about 14,000 of those were complaints. Complaints are important because we want to help provide a conduit for the consumer to get a resolution whenever there's a snag. And most companies are very cooperative when we bring concerns to their attention, so much so that I think right now we're averaging about 95% of all disputes are being resolved, and usually within a 10-day period. So it's relatively quickly. So it's not something that drags on. But really what we're doing is there's a lot of education, there's a lot of information. We do quite a bit of support for helping businesses be better by giving them best practice expectations. And it is a member organization. So you've got over 4,500 companies that are supporting that mission and vision of the value of making things better in the marketplace. Sadly, Jeremy, there's since COVID occurred in 2020, every study out there shows that the trust factor or trust barometer has dropped dramatically. Consumers now go into virtually every transaction assuming 6 out of 10 will go wrong. And so what we're trying to do is ensure that they find that 4 out of 10 that have a worry-free transaction by using an accredited business. Check with us first, make sure we have fully vetted them so that you don't have to.
Yeah, and I think to your point, that layer of confidence, of protection, knowing that knowing that 1, they've been vetted, 2 is if something happens, there's recourse, and 3, knowing that you've got, your organization to have their back. And I think that's a critical piece of this, because we'll talk about, obviously the top 5 riskiest scams, and one of them being really the number 1 being online. And when you look at the inability to have someone that you can connect with on a relationship, a personal level, to hold them accountable, when you talk about online, that's a whole different game. And so when you talk about trust, ethics, accountability, all these things, it's so important to have the Better Business Bureau know that you've got your back. And so I think that's a huge piece of this equation, is the good work you do to protect us. You also do good in terms of spotlighting the positive. You have awards. So go ahead and talk about some of the awards on the positive side.
Sure. Well, real quick, to your point about the online shopping, what we like to tell people is before you shop with a stranger, just check with a friend. Let us make sure that this is the right place to go. So just go to bb.org and we'll help you out. Yes, part of the way we drive trust in the marketplace is we like to recognize and celebrate what we call marketplace role models. And so we do something called Torch Awards every year. This is to give companies credit for having outstanding commitment to character, to community, to culture within their organization, and to customer service. And so they submit to us a pretty big amount of information for our independent judges to go through. And so those are for companies that have been well established in our market for quite a while. We also do something called the Spark Award for young entrepreneurs. So companies that are either younger than 3 years or the owner is younger than 35 And again, similarly, we're looking at what is their corporate culture, what is their commitment to the community and their constituents, how are they ensuring that their employees have the best possible resource available to thrive in their own organization, and how do they effectively communicate out to all parties, whether it's the consumer, the employee, the owners, those types of things. And the Spark Award is fun because it comes with money, not just a trophy. So both of those are going to be recognized at our upcoming Big Blue Bash at the Wild Horse Saloon on June 27th. We'll also be recognizing 11 high school seniors with our Students of Integrity program. This is a scholarship program for both university-bound students and trade school-bound students, because we absolutely see value in pursuing trade education and career paths. And although this scholarship is not about having the very best grades or the fastest time in running, but it's about who you are as a core individual. So the students do write a essay on difficult situations they've overcome and how they've used personal integrity, their own moral compass, to overcome it. And then again, we award anywhere from 10 to 20 scholarships every year. So we're always happy to do that.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Let's go ahead and switch gears and let's dive in. So we're talking about the top 5 riskiest scams. And as we alluded, number 1, online purchases. And so go ahead and tee up this terrible scam.
Well, unfortunately, and it runs the gamut of really any industry. Look, the bottom line is we're very captive. We are on our smart devices more than we've ever been before, our laptops, our iPads, our iPhones. Scammers go where we are. And so we're all getting unsolicited texts, we're getting pop-up ads. AI is allowing artificial intelligence is allowing the scammer to know what you're looking for so they can target something to catch your attention. And we all love instant gratification, right? And so if someone is offering you a price lower than you've ever seen, shipping faster than you're familiar with, or availability of product that you can't quite find anywhere else, those are all big flags to stay away. We always say, time is your greatest asset to avoid scams. And what I mean by that is, instead of immediately responding to that pop-up ad or that pop-up text, go research that company or go directly to the real website and see if that product, that price, those specials are actually available. We had an employee who bought a pair of Bomba socks, thought they were buying Bomba socks because I got a pop-up ad. Sadly, they didn't buy Bomba socks, which is an excellent social enterprise organization. She got the socks for $19.99. They were about this big, and Bombas spelled backwards. And everything about the transaction looked legitimate until she hit purchase, and then all the shipping and confirmation information came back with bad spelling, a really strange URL address. And so again, if you see something online that looks great, go directly to that company's website. Another thing you can do is put whoever that ad is from in a Google search, but type scam after it, and that'll tell you what other people are saying so that you can avoid hopefully being ripped off.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite tips that you've mentioned in the past is typing scam in afterward, doing a Google search. And it's amazing what you find on that regard. Is there any recourse on, being able to cancel a credit card transaction? So in that case, if that person finds out immediately, wait a second, this doesn't feel right, but they've already made the transaction, can they cancel the credit card and put in
Yes.
Is there any recourse?
Yeah. So what we always say is don't shop with a debit card. Don't shop with gift cards online with strangers. Only use your bank card, because the bank will stand behind you on reversing that charge because it is fraud. And so make sure that you're only using that MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Discover type card, because the banks will assist you. Scammers will try to get you to pay with a debit card. They will try to get you to pay with a gift card or Venmo or something like that, where the recourse is non-existent. I mean, if that money is moved, just consider it a donation. You're not going to get it back.
Let's go ahead and dive in. Number 2 is employment scams. And so talk about the prevalence of employment scams.
It's sad because this one jumped dramatically in 2022. So obviously we had a lot of people not working in 2020 and 2021 because of the pandemic. They're ready to go back into the workforce. Again, scammers go where we are. They know what our sort of habits are and that. And so they immediately start to build an opportunity to capture people's attention who are looking for employment. And so what's really interesting about this is that the targeted age group that's falling victim most often is 18 to 24-year-olds. And so these are folks that are more likely to trust the information they get on their phone or their smart device differently than an older generation. And the scammers have become so high tech that they're actually setting up Google Meets to do interviews. They're providing false documents that look very official in terms of employment applications. And so what's happening? First off, you're filling out an employment application with a lot of private information. So now there's a potential identity theft risk. The second thing that's happening is real employers don't charge you a fee to apply. And so oftentimes these scammers will ask you to pay some sort of application fee for the employment. So now you're losing money as well. The best way to head off this scam is if you have not personally applied at that website or that company's location, employers don't reach out to you for interviews that you've never applied for. And they're really good at making it look like the real thing. Amazon is probably one of the most heavily copied employers for scams because they're always hiring. And so any of those big retailers, big shipping companies, things like that have been copycatted quite a bit. But again, as the employee, you have to not only protect your information, but do your homework about that organization. If you get a pop-up about a particular employment opportunity, go to that company's website and see if that job is really available and then apply.
Go ahead and jump to number 3, cryptocurrency.
Cryptocurrency, money in the cloud. So, crypto is scary because so many people don't really understand it. All they've heard, though, is that a lot of money can be made. Now, sadly, although this is the smallest percentage of scams that are reported, it's less than 2%, it has the largest loss value. So people that do fall victim are losing, $1,500, $1,700, a much larger transaction, typically targeting 24 to 44-year-olds as well as 65 and over. This is one where we just say you've got to check references. You've got to do that Google search with scam on who the cryptocurrency company is. Because again, once that money transfer happens, it's gone, and you're much more likely to lose a larger amount of money with crypto scams. Check references again, check the website, ask for others that have potentially invested in this organization, and also check Scam Tracker, bbb.org/Scam Tracker. That is a holding ground, if you will, heat map as well, to show what scams are happening in your own community. And realize scammers tend to work a region until they feel like it's coming up dry, and then they move on to another. And so chances are, if you check Scam Tracker, you're going to see other activity from that organization in your neighborhood.
Yeah, sure. Super helpful advice.
Yeah.
Let's dive into home improvement. And so that's another sad one.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the age-old one that's been going on since the beginning of time. Especially right now, spring and summer, everybody's working on their house. It doesn't always have to be after a natural disaster, which, of course, it does happen a lot then. But right now, we're already getting reports of solicitors knocking on your door. Hey, I'm working in your area. If I can get 2 or 3 more customers, I'm going to be able to give everybody a better price. We have extra materials. So first and foremost, legitimate, honest home improvement contractors don't knock on your door unless they have an appointment. And so be wary of that. There's nothing that says you got to open your door, right, to a stranger. One of the easiest ways to determine if they're legitimate is just look at their license plate. Is it from Tennessee? Is it from your county? Or are they from out of state, which means storm chaser? Always ask for ID. Always ask for written estimates. Do not fall victim to pressure sales where they want money up front. That's absolutely inappropriate. That's another reason to just shut your door. But what you're seeing right now is asphalt, window repair, roof repair, you name it, painters, lawn care, all of that is happening. It doesn't mean everybody's bad, but it's your job to do your homework so that you don't fall victim to stranger danger.
Talk about now advance fee loans.
Advance fee loans. So interest rates haven't been this high in years, right? And so consumers are looking for a better way to potentially either get a loan for a major purchase and sometimes a minor purchase, or just to get that gap between paycheck to paycheck. And scammers know that. So they're going to offer you very low interest rates, much lower than you're going to get from anybody else in town, which of course is your red flag. If it seems too good to be true, chances are it's not. But then what happens is they're taking you through the application process. The two big warning signs: one is they're going to start asking for taxes in advance of the loan closing, or they're going to ask for application fees in advance of the loan closing. Now, again, similar to the employment scams, if they're asking for money up front, that's an absolute no bueno, excuse me. But also remember, through the loan process, you're giving them a lot of private information. So you're at risk of losing money and identity. Oh, and by the way, advance fee loans are illegal. And so stay away. Just stay away. Honest lenders are not going to do that to you.
Yeah, all of this is extremely helpful. And I think just like anything, knowledge is power. The more you know, the more you can protect yourself. And so talk about website, talk about where we go to carry these conversations forward and to make sure that we're protected.
So always visit bbb.org, look up either the industry that you're shopping for or the individual company, see what their rating is, see what other consumers are saying about them. Are they accredited or are they not? If they're accredited, remember, they are committed to solutions and providing great customer service. And so you always can have a higher comfort level of knowing that, again, we've checked them out, so you don't have to. One of the things people don't always realize about our website is everything that you see has fact checked. And so even our customer reviews are fact checked to ensure that there really was a transaction with that consumer, as opposed to just, bots feeding positive reviews. So you can trust that information, you can trust the business profile, because we're checking everything from licensing to you name it, depending upon the industry, what's important. Again, lots of newsworthy information there. So if you want to stay up on what's going on in the marketplace, like this scam report from 2022, it's published there. And then again, if you feel like you've fallen victim to a scam, please report it at Scam Tracker. That information is not just used in our office, but it's also shared with the Federal Trade Commission, the FCC, the local attorney general, so that they can also take steps to hopefully put these folks out of business.
Yeah. Robyn Householder, CEO, Better Business Bureau, serving Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Thank you for all you do for your City Current partnership as well. Thank you for coming on the show.
We're so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Have a great day.